Wisconsin, one sports venue stands above all others.
Star begins the count. Takes the snap. He's got the quarterback sneak, and he's into the touchdown. The Green Bay Packers are going to be world champions.
Brett straight back in the pocket. Quick drop. Goes to the outside. There's a fade. It's there. Touchdown, Antonio Freeman. A perfect throw by Brett Favre.
But for this week only, Lambeau Field will give way to the next great Wisconsin sporting mecca. On the shores of Lake Michigan, you'll find 7,500 yards of grueling sandy links called Whistling Straits. And it is on this stage that the next chapter will be written in golf's most dramatic championship.
Gather round.
The best players in the world look to capture the season's final major.
Check it out.
The last chance at glory starts today.
Time is running out. No more room. 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 You're right.
The PGA Championship lure.
Oh, he's running after. He ran after. He got there before the ball did. I don't believe it.
It's running out. It's running out.
The 86th PGA Championship is next.
A very good morning and welcome to our coverage of the 86th PGA Championship. As you've just heard, time is running out. It's the last chance for the best golfers in the world to grab their slice of sporting immortality. We've seen all three majors decided here on the Nine Network this year. At times they've been controversial, they've all been exciting, and this one promises to be just the same. And one of the reasons you just saw shots of the Whistling Straits course by the shores of Lake Michigan, there are 1,000 bunkers and 6,800 metres to traverse, so it will be difficult. So far, though, the field of 156 hasn't had a great deal of problems, and the scoring, as we see it, has been very, very good. The leader is Darren Clark from Ireland. Now, his home course is Port Rush in Ireland, and wouldn't you know it, this is a links course, and Darren Clark has been very much at home there with a 65 to be 7 under the card. Ernie Els, well, what a year he's had. He's closely missed 2 majors this year. Will he be able to finally win one in 2004? He shot a 66 alongside another great links player, Justin Leonard, a former British Open champion, of course, also with a 66. Vijay Singh always seems to be there or thereabouts. He's on the 17th. He's 5 under. Scott Verplank is 5 under, and there's 3 at 4 under there. KJ Choi, Jay Haas and Padraig Harrington, another Irishman, of course, with great experience on links courses. Following the withdrawal of Greg Norman with a back injury, there are 11 Australians. We've had 6 victories on the US PGA Tour this year, but no majors, of course. Rod Pampling is out there. He's through 3. He's 2 under. Craig Parry also 2 under. Adam Scott is in the clubhouse with a 71. Brendan Jones, 1 under after 15, Robert Allenby 1 under after 2, and Stuart Appleby even through 1. And Mark Hensby, also a winner this year, even after 4. Nick Ahern, 1 over with a 73, and Stephen Leaney, 2 over after a 74. Peter Lonart and Jeff Ogilvy yet to tee off. Now, as I said, a very long course, a field of 156. And this is Phil Mickelson, already a major winner this year. Won the Masters, of course, in a tight finish over Ernie Els. And here he is. We'll go to our host broadcasters now. It's TNT Sports. Hope you enjoy it. Day 1 of the US PGA Championships.
408 yards, par 4.
A relatively gentle start. Mickelson going with the driver. Doesn't have to hit that club. Leave it a little left. Length off it just slightly. Yep, catches the fairway bunker. Not too bad. Fairly clean lie.
Heard Ernie Johnson mention more than 1,000 bunkers in all on the Whistling Straits. Let's go to 8.
They call it On the Rocks, the par 4. And this is 178 with a 5-iron.
What a beauty.
I'll say.
Scott Verplank just drilling that 5-iron into the wind.
Davis Love, who birdied the first, now with a birdie chance at the second. And they'll have that to remain at 1 under. Go back to the first.
And here is the British Open champion, Todd Hamilton. This is tradition with the PGA in the first round. They pair the winners of the 3 previous majors of that year. However, there's one absent this year. Retief Goosen had to withdraw from the PGA. Injury in a ski-doo accident. So his place taken by Brian Bateman, and that is the Wanamaker Trophy. Here's Hamilton.
With a long iron, goes to the tee. And that one in good shape. His first fairway, as you can see, not particularly wide. Snakes around the corner. One of the easier greens on the golf course.
Let's go to 14.
And there is Rod Pampling, winner at the International last week. Some momentum coming in here to Whistling Straits.
Impressive victory it was. That eagle at 17 on Sunday. And what that does for a player's confidence, Ernie, to finally get your breakthrough win. Rod's a former greenskeeper in Brisbane, Australia. That's how he got his start in the game.
You talk about the momentum carrying over. He's birdied 3 of his first 4 and in position to make it 4 out of 5.
Beautiful shot there.
We've seen some guys jump out of the gate already today. KJ Choi birdied his first 5 holes. Darren Clark birdied his first 4. Here's Chris DeMarco now at the 8th to save par.
I don't think any of the players thought the golf course was going to be this scoreable beginning today. It really makes the players have to change the mindset. You go out there thinking, well, I'm just going to try to make pars, and all of a sudden you look up at the leaderboard and there's 7 under.
DeMarco saves his par at number 8 to remain 4 off the pace set by Darren Clark. Has battened down the hatches here a couple of times here during the practice rounds when the wind was really up.
Oh, it was hellacious. We saw BJ in a practice round hit 4 balls consecutively into Lake Michigan on 17. And he was playing with Paul Azinger, who followed suit, hitting 3 in a row.
33 players currently in red numbers. And some of the forecasts going into this 86th PGA Championship said that par would be a good score. Of course, we're early, folks. It's Thursday. And the wind can change.
Scott's been playing very well. In fact, he's had 4 consecutive top 11 finishes on the tour coming into this week, but 2 of them were 11th place, which of course don't earn any Ryder Cup points. Beauty. Nice birdie.
So Scott Verplank just 1 back. And let's take a look as we see Phil Mickelson at number 1. We saw him missing the fairway at the first. Let's take a look at our ING virtual caddy.
Let's go on an outward bound adventure, shall we, Ernie? On the first hole, shortened to 408 yards, but this meandering narrow fairway is a doozy to try to find. Only 18 yards wide off the tee in most areas, 15 there in the neck. Players, we saw Todd Hamilton with the iron, Phil Mickelson with the driver, so you can create your own strategy. Holes tucked back in the left.
For more virtual caddy presented by ING, log on to PGA.com.
And we're in the middle of the fairway at the first hole, second shot. Bill Kratzert is with this group. Bill?
That from 160 yards, caught it a little skinny.
Just slides off the back edge. And quite creep down into the swale. Shouldn't be too bad.
Now Mickelson, second shot.
Mickelson, 134 yards. Pretty good lie, just a touch downhill out of the bunker.
Little punch shot.
Oh, what a great line this is.
Ooh, not a bad club either.
Pretty good result as well.
And the Masters champion, a huge crowd favorite as always. The Masters champion, Vern. Finally.
Finally.
It sounds good to be able to say.
Yes. And forevermore, he will be so identified. David, worth another look.
Yeah, just playing a little back in his stance here. A little punch shot. Make sure he gets the ball first. Keeps his chin up throughout. One of the keys in playing a fairway bunker shot, just look down your nose a little more. Make sure you maintain your height. Just stuffs it. It's a nice start.
And on the ninth, here is Scott Verplank. This downhill par 4.
Kind of a little windy bunker that sneaks all the way through there towards the fairway. Scott starting that one down the right. And a tiny little green here. All those lies look good from the blimp.
Well, Phil Mickelson heading toward his birdie opportunity, and Bill Kratzert is with this group.
Well, thank you, Vern. And what I find interesting is that Phil Mickelson, he's only played one practice round this week. Spent the entire week previous, played 3 practice rounds, but one of the practice rounds, he spent 9 hours out here finding out all the nuances of Whistling Straits. Brian Bateman, he's a good player, and see if he can take advantage of this break, replacing Retief Goosen. Back to you, Vern.
All right, Bill. Look forward to your comments as you follow this grouping around Whistling Strait in the first round.
And Todd Hamilton, the other member of this group. Really, Hal Sutton has to be looking at him very closely. A great champion at the British Open. He stared down Ernie Els, which is never easy. Earlier this year, he won it at the Honda. Stared down Davis Love. He's won a match play event in Japan 3 times. He's the real thing. Absolutely the real thing. He knows how to win.
And he's one of the really great feel-good stories of this sport this year. The long route he took to get his PGA card all those years, laboring in the Asian Tour.
Well, lovely effort from off the green.
Certainly.
See Mickelson watching that ball. He's a great studier of other people's putts. He watches absolutely everything on the green, even though that's from a different line. He'll be thinking, well, if I'm over there tomorrow and if the flag's somewhere similar.
I seem to recall him watching a Chris DeMarco putt
yeah.
back in April.
He had one eye on that one.
And David, I thought it interesting with the notes he and Rick Smith went over prior to the round.
Yeah, very thorough.
14.
And Rod Pampling, that was for his 4th birdie of the day, but will settle for par with this. Great start nonetheless for Rod Pampling. And now the finishing hole. This is Brad Faxon at 18. Hold on tight.
This one has 32 different breaks in it.
Well, he got to 31 of them.
One of them was backwards.
Yeah, I think so.
Actually, I saw Brad yesterday on the screen practicing chipping all over it.
Yeah, you can get in a spot there where you have to chip the ball. So we go to 1.
This is Brian Bateman at the first. Again, he's in the field because of the injury to Latif Goosen.
Oh, nice start.
Yes, indeed.
I got 2 words for Brian Bateman. John Daly. 1991, the last man into the field because Nick Price withdrew. PGA champion.
He was on a plane with Davis Love coming in from Denver, the International, when he found out he had made the field. You know, we were talking about lengthy putts. I saw last night a videotape of Dave Pelz, who's short game teacher for Phil Mickelson. He canned one from 72 yards.
Was it a first take?
May not have been.
72 yards.
72, 216-foot putt.
That's a St. Andrews attempt. Considerably shorter for Mickelson here for birdie in the opening hole. Ooh, that's a little different stance he had at that one. He's got the ball a long way up, a very open stance. I thought he was going to step into a different, make another little move, but he went right ahead and knocked it in.
The start he had hoped for. Birdie at the first. Darren Clark, the leader. He's in the clubhouse at 65. Elson Leonard, 66. Here's Todd Hamilton. This is for his 4.
And you can see from that low angle shot, this golf course just in perfect condition. Not a bad lie if you manage to hit it on the short stuff, and the greens are just velvet.
And here's a view from behind the 9th green back to Scott Verplank, who, if you'll recall, missed the fairway to the right. And David said the lie looked good from the blimp. How about ground level?
Well, 182 yards, and he's going to have to, you know, make a choice here. He can't hit it with both of those clubs. So it's probably a little bit of a jumper. And with the kind of fairy grotto we've got here to the right, there's a little bridge there. It looks like there should be a troll living underneath it. It's really a nasty spot. Expect him to try and heave this onto the green somewhere left of the flag if he can, avoiding the little pot bunker. An 8-iron from 182 yards, so he thinks it's going to jump. Oh, well, there you are. You see, now it looks like a lynx, smells like a lynx, but it plays like a Pete Dye Target Golf with a strange haircut.
Here's DeMarco.
And he played beautifully for the first 2 rounds last week. Only a horrible weekend. That was a 7-iron and a beautiful shot, and it's great to see him just jumping right back on the horse here.
Well, he was 167 out, and he hit at 168. He's got 3 feet. Let's go to Brad Faxon at 18.
Let's see if he can 2-putt from a long way away. And unable to. A 3-putt for Fax.
I don't think I've ever seen him 3-putt before.
So a 1 under 71 on the tee at number 2. Once again, let's turn to our ING virtual caddy for a tour of the 2nd hole, Bobby.
And we're going to have to go cross country here at 2, Ernie, as we go over the crossing bunkers to the straightaway par 5, 593 yards. And with the easterly winds blowing, it'll be helping the players from the left. If you're to lay up, lay way back, short of that bunker. And the whole location today all the way at the back portion of the green.
For more Virtual Caddy presented by ING, log on to PGA.com. Number 2 playing the easiest so far today.
There won't be any question that the players off the tee will be thinking in terms of playing the second hole as a 2-shot par 5.
Meantime, up ahead on the green at 2, Brett Quigley.
There's an alternate in the field replacing Nick Price, who for the second straight year elected to extend his family vacation and not play. So it was Price's loss as Quigley's gain. Nice little birdie.
All around good putt to go 1 under. So he plays with Sean McKeel and Paul Azinger, former PGA champions.
Azinger had a little fishing accident on Tuesday. A hook stuck in his finger and actually pulled the nail off, so he's having to bandage that finger up a little bit.
He birdied the first.
That's not the first time that's ever happened to Paul. He's been fishing them many times.
Well, he burned the edge at the second and gives back the stroke he picked up at the first. Meantime, Colin Montgomery in the second fairway. So you've got a group on the tee, another in the fairway, another just completing play. And here's Monty.
And just a couple of weeks ago, we were there at Royal Troon, his home course. Monty was certainly in contention throughout most of the championship.
A couple of shaky moments for Monty at the finishing hole. It doomed his chances there at Royal Troon, and he'll have that for his third. Now back to 9.
And this is Scott Verplank.
From just short of the green, looks like a putter. Come on now. Ooh, little work left there. Verplank having difficulty getting it all the way to the hole here with his second and his third. There's Scott Tway, Bob Tway's brother, carrying the bag. Back to the second.
And Phil ready to give it a rip.
Well, the average drive on this hole today is 318 yards, so you can imagine how far Mickelson can rip it here.
He finds a bunker for the second hole in a row.
Yeah, it won't be very long then.
13.
And this is Patrick Sheehan, his third shot.
One of the very, very short par 4s here at Whistling Straits, only 404 yards. Almost drivable by comparison to some of them, and there you go. And you are well advised to wear some kind of soft spike at the very least here, because you can go for a tumble.
Back here at Whistling Straits, day 1 of the PGA Championship. Darren Clark went out this morning and put a 65 on the board. One better than Ernie Els, Justin Leonard. Scott Verplank trying to stay one back to 9.
Chris DeMarco for birdie at the 9th.
Tiny little tap. Yo! There you go.
And that completes his round at 68. The 9th hole, DeMarco's last. And he finds himself 3 back. This is a moment ago. This is Scott Verplank, and this is to save par.
See the pace of these greens from both sides of the hole there. That just like lightning. A disappointing bogey for Scott Verplank. It'll drop him to 5 under par, 67. That's a great score. I didn't see too many 67s, 65s the last few days. I don't think anybody else did either. Back to the second.
And Phil Mickelson, who caught the bunker off the tee. Billy?
And Phil, he's 304 to the hole, so obviously he's just going to try to move this ball somewhere, you know, maybe 200, maybe 210 yards down the fairway.
It's a key.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Key fairway, Billy, to put the ball in play here.
Well, certainly if he would have hit the fairway, Bobby, I mean, he would have had no problem reaching this par 5 and 2. But, you know, putting it back in play and putting a wedge in Mickelson's hands, not a bad option.
But look what he's pulled out of the bag, and it looks as if, from the camera angle, it looks as if the ball is actually setting down a little bit.
Well, that's the camera angle, Bobby, because it's actually a pretty good lie, and you know, he carries a 4-wood, and that's the great thing about watching Mickelson. You never know.
Yeah, he's still Phil.
Up ahead, Fred Funk for birdie. Now back to lefty.
It's an amazing play here. You got to get the bottom of your swing way out in front of the ball to hit this right. A little punch forward out of the bunker. You got that shot, Ernie?
Not in my dreams. He'll have that for his third here at the par 5 second. They birdied the first after finding the fairway bunker. Now Shingo Katayama, remember at the PGA Championship in Atlanta, he was tied for the lead at the midway point. 2001.
Still wearing the hat.
Now the MetLife Blimp Snoopy 2 is providing today's aerial coverage of the PGA Championship. The blimp travels over 60,000 miles a year to cover sporting events and TV specials throughout the U.S. Look for the MetLife Blimp Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2 as they provide coverage at sporting events throughout the year. Darren Clark with a fine 65. 7 under. And now Todd Hamilton.
And I like this play, just a 7-iron, just move it down the fairway.
Well, we saw this type of strategy out of Hamilton at the British Open, Billy, because he would say that when he needed to lay up, he'd lay way back as opposed to challenging the bunkers like Mickelson and others did.
So you're telling me management very strong in his game?
I like it. He's a good thinker.
Up ahead, Colin Montgomery for birdie. And well done by Monty. Now Brian Bateman.
Pretty much the only option he has here, Arnie. Pretty close to the lip. Certainly doesn't want to take a chance on catching it coming out of here.
Got a good golf swing. Does Brian Bateman out of LSU finished third earlier this year in the Honda Classic?
Boy, lost it right, Bobby. It actually kind of nipped the lip coming out.
Uh-oh.
An hour deep into our 6 hours of coverage here on TNT from Whistling Straits. We'll be back.
Welcome back to our coverage of the 86th PGA Championship. Before we go back to the golf, just a reminder that you can win $1,000 this morning in the Nissan X-Trail Extreme Sporting Chance competition. All you have to do is correctly pick what you will think will be the lowest ranked score for day one at this US PGA. Will it be Darren Clark's 65, or will someone come over the top of him and post an even better number? All you have to do is SMS text your answer to this number, 188-9926, 188-9926. The lines close at 8:45 a.m. this morning, so there's plenty of time for you to decide what you think will be the lowest score this morning in round one and text it in. There's $1,000 up for grabs every day, and it's all for just using your golfing nous to figure out what do you think will be the low number here today at the US PGA. And just remember, you have to be over 18 to enter this one as we return you to Whistling Straits on the shores of Lake Michigan to the British Open champion Todd Hamilton.
And that from 86, trying to take a low checker in there. And
Yeah, needs to run.
yeah, that was a little too much defense.
Yeah. And that's the right strategy, to take a little low shot in there to the back hole location.
How about this for lefty, Billy?
Ball below his feet. Pretty decent lie. Just under 80 yards, and he was just left of that hump that ball caromed off of, and that was the difficulty in the shot, trying to negotiate that.
Pretty good play. That's what we call a yellow light hole situation, where you just don't want to be gunning at that flag.
A birdie opportunity there for Phil Mickelson to 11.
11 is a par 5, 563 today. This is David Duval. That was his birdie attempt. David, of course, well documented, decided to enter the British Open this year. Not good results, but he all in all seemed to be happy with the chance that he had to go back and begin to compete again. Vern Lundquist along with David Faherty. I know you've been here many times. You've played a couple of times.
I have. I've done a couple of corporate outings here. I can honestly say that I've never finished the golf course. It's just been too bewildered, really. And I'm stunned, Vern. I really am, to see these scores. I really feel for the guys that showed up to play this afternoon, and they took a look at that scoreboard. 7 under? What is that? 6 under? The way this golf course played over the last 2 or 3 days, man, I really thought there may be guys out there that wouldn't have enough golf balls to finish.
Well,
Really?
the guy who's got the 7 under is your good friend Darren Clark.
That's right. And I mean, there are 266s, 267s. I see a bunch of 68s. I mean, that is remarkable scoring, and it's a great job by the PGA of America. This is a tournament that's run by professionals for professionals, and it's a golf course where you could easily lose control of this, really. It's been set up very sensibly today. I still think even par has got a great chance of winning this event. You're going to see this course show some teeth by the weekend.
Let's go out to the second hole.
I think David's right, and certainly with the hole locations, I think are going to get more difficult as the week goes on. This is about as easy a hole locations as you can set up.
In short, enjoy it while you can and put the numbers up there, as Darren Clark has done. And now Brian Bateman came here as the 6th alternate, winds up playing with the Masters champion and the British Open champion as he replaces U.S. Open champion Retief Goosen.
About this, another bomb? Wow. He says his putting's been improving a lot this year. I guess he's right.
That'll be a great 2-putt for par here at the 2nd. To 15.
This is Rod Pampling, winner last week at the International, 3 under. This, however, is for par.
518-yard par 4. That's a net par.
That's hard to say.
Yeah. This really one of the feature holes on the way in here. The last 4 holes, well over a mile long. The green mile. Back to the second.
And Todd Hamilton for his birdie.
The oldest rookie in PGA Tour history to win a PGA Tour event, when he did so at the Honda Classic this year.
And then, of course, his week at Royal Troon as he stared down Ernie Els and walked away with the claret jug. He is even through 2. Phil Mickelson is surveying a birdie putt here at the 2nd.
Bobby, I don't think there's a lot in it. Maybe just on the edge.
The thing about these greens, Billy, is they not a lot of grain in the greens. It's a Provident bent grass, which is a very fine blade, and they've been double cutting every morning, single cutting at night. Michael Lee and his staff just have done an incredible job here.
Well, this would be the start that he would certainly want if this one goes.
A lot of authority in that stroke.
Birdie. Couldn't help but notice the ball behind Phil Mickelson, too, because the group behind, Michael Campbell, hit into the group.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes. Pardon me.
Oh, Phil, were you there in 3? Oh, I was there in 2.
So a birdie start for Phil Mickelson, and now Brian Bateman for his par.
No par 5 for Brian.
So Phil Mickelson makes his way to the par 3 third at 2 under now. Back at 14 earlier.
It's the short par 4, 14th. This is Pat Sheehan. His second shot. In fact, some of the players have been gunning at this green off the tee.
As they put an Irish links style course here in outside Kohler, and it's only shade under 3,500 miles to Lahinch.
Well, that's what the golf course feels like. About the same length.
Good 5-mile walk for those in the field of 156 here. And again, 2 miles of Lake Michigan shoreline where Whistling Straits sits.
Here's David Duval, par 3, 12th, and this really Whistling Straits version of the postage stamp. But the whole location about as easy a spot as you can find at the 12th. You wait till later on in the week, Ernie, when they put the pin up there on the right-hand side.
I've seen it.
It's the tightest little target you've ever seen.
Well, a good birdie opportunity now for David Duval after a par start. Now Sheehan at the 14th.
Sheehan was in the hunt a few weeks ago in Milwaukee at the U.S. Bank Championship. In fact, held the lead in the final round.
Got out of the gates with 3 straight birdies starting on the back 9.
Grew up in Rhode Island with Brett Quigley. In fact, they competed against one another in junior golf. Patrick's had a good year.
Back to 3.
And your first look in a while at the par 3. Lovely little hole, playing 176 yards.
3 of the par 3s playing under 200 yards. The 17th at 214. It can play considerably longer than that. They all can. And this one with the lake on the left, 7th right behind it with the lake on the right, is a good mix.
Well, a lot of breeze behind them right now, David. 176 yards and plays about 4% downhill. Mickelson with a 9-iron.
Flag over on the right today. It's going to be interesting to see this one hanging over the cliff on the left.
Needs a hop to the left.
Oh, and it got it.
Oh, boy.
That one jumps backwards. Boy, that was a huge 9-iron.
Not a bad break, huh? Phil Mickelson birdies at the first 2 and a chance for birdie at the 3rd.
The 2005 PGA Championship will be contested at Venerable Baltusrol Golf Club in Springfield, New Jersey, August 8th through the 14th. For ticket information, please log on to PGA2005.com. How about Baltusrol, Bobby?
Well, it's been the site of many major championships and a classic old-style northeastern course.
7 U.S. Opens there. This will be the first PGA Championship contested at Baltusrol. Of course, this year here we are at Whistling Straits on the shores of Lake Michigan, and it was the dream of Herb Kohler of the Kohler Company. He's the president and CEO. In fact, celebrating his 30th year as the president. Wanted to pay his homage to really the birth of this game and establish an Irish links kind of course here. And as he was walking during construction, which began in 1995, he said the winds were whistling through, whitecaps breaking on the shoreline down there, and thus Whistling Straits, the name that Herb Kohler came up with. Of course, another definition of straits could be a situation of perplexity or distress, which could very well be a storyline here as the week progresses. I remember when we showed you Phil Mickelson putting for birdie at number 2, we said, well, whose ball is that? Oh, it's Michael Campbell's, so this is for eagle at the second for Campbell. That for his nearly kick-in birdie to 5.
And here is Davis Love at the 5th. It's par 5. And Davis's 3rd shot.
Laid it up in a nice spot there. And just glides a little further by than he'd like. Not bad. Good chance for birdie. 598 yards. The 5th. We'll go back to the 3rd.
And the view from overhead. And Bobby and EJ talking about Herb Kohler's this course. It is a public course, so it is available for those of you at home to play. 2nd shot now.
Really a hard shot, especially trying to figure out the pace.
Just a fraction of break on that one, Billy.
How about this? How creative is that, David?
What a piece of imagination. That's just beautiful. No real way to go straight at that and slow the ball down.
I guess it shouldn't be any surprise the way he did it at Troon. What a shot.
That was terrific. Now just your all-round average 3. Worth another look, David.
Just a little stuns it up to the top of the slope there, runs it off the back edge. He took a good look at it, studied the contours, figured out a weight, and that is just gorgeous. And, you know, that's really experience. You see a lot of that. Ballesteros is one of the greatest I ever saw, Vern, who could figure out the angles, almost like a pool player. It's not always a straightforward shot on a golf course, and these greens will play kind of link style, even though the rest of the golf course is kind of hit and stop. At least under these conditions. You know, you've really got to figure out these greens and spend a lot of time searching for different ways to get near the hole.
You must have, here's Davis Love, must require a lot of self-confidence, too, to do that.
Yeah, you can wind up with egg in your face. Always just a little bit on the low side there.
So,
back to 3. Brian Bateman with another beautiful attempt from long range.
Davis Love got his par at the 5th hole. Bateman about to get his at the 3rd.
You know, you're talking about this being a public golf course. If anyone does get the chance to play this, it really is. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I don't think I've ever seen a golf course like this. It's so visually beautiful. And just such a different experience. We go to the 12th.
And David Duval for birdie. He'll start the day with 3 pars if he is able to finish that up.
Yeah, it's really the beginning of his comeback. After 8 months off, he decided to reappear at the U.S. Open at Shinnecock. What a place to get started back. And then he shows up at the British Open at Troon, and now here.
And a last-minute withdrawal at the Open Championship at Royal Troon. Back to 3.
Mickelson for his 3rd in a row.
Wow.
How about this start?
We've seen some starts today. It's just not that easy. I don't care what anybody says. It's not set up as difficult as it could be, but they're making it look easier than it is.
Darren Darren Clark showing the way with a 65, 7 under par. Justin Leonard said after his round that he watched Darren Clark and KJ Choi just swapping birdies back and forth and kind of got sucked into this thing on the backside. And look at him, right in contention too. KJ Choi finishing with a 68, 4 under par. By the way, Jay Haas, you saw him at 4 under. Another great first round in a major championship for the 50-year-old. Rod Pampling's given one back here as he plays his 8th hole. Lots of guys in red numbers, Bobby. Many more than we expected to see here on day 1 of the 86th PGA Championship. At Whistling Straits, David Toms, former PGA champion, is at even par through 5. Brett Funk even through 3. If you're looking for the name of Tiger Woods, he's 10 back. Shot a 75 today. Here's Jesper Parnevik at 11.
And this is his bid for birdie.
Cheerful shade of blue.
Scandinavian aqua.
Ah. And just slides by. See Jesper back to the unusual putter there. 1 over par. And you know, anyone that can manage to sneak it around there anywhere around par, 2 or 3 over, boy, won't count them out. Darren Clark at 7 under at the minute. Ernie Els and Justin Leonard at 6. Fantastic scoring here in the first round of the 86th PGA Championship.
And welcome back. Before we go back to Whistling Straits, a quick look at the Australian scores. Rod Pampling has had a bogey, but he's still 2 under through 7 holes. Craig Parry 2 under through 6. Rod Pampling, of course, beginning on the back 9. Robert Allenby 1 under. You can see there Stuart Appleby even through 4. Jeff Ogilvie even through 1. And Stephen Leaney 2 over with a 74 as we go back to the golf.
Great look at Whistling Straits and all of its natural beauty here near Kohler, Wisconsin, about an hour north of Milwaukee. Actually in the village of Haven, where Whistling Straits is located. And you get a look down the 4th fairway. Todd Hamilton, the British Open champion. Billy Kratzert.
Actually left himself a lot of yardage here, EJ. This hole playing straight downwind, 190 yards out of the first cut of rough, and really a hard hole location to try to get close to. Only about 3 or 4 paces over that collection area in front.
This is a doozy of a hole when it's into the south wind at 493, Billy.
He's just trying to launch an 8-iron and just hope that this ball pitches forward, Bobby.
He gets a good bounce off the downslope, but it's not enough to reach the green.
He did make the comment that Phil only has 15 more to go.
Well, you can't birdie them all if you don't birdie the first 17, and that's what Phil's thinking about right now.
Yeah, walking to the tee, he said, I thought this golf course was hard.
Oh, Brian Bateman. What's he got, Billy?
Bateman from 175. A little bit better lie in that first cut.
You can just get a feel of the undulations that front the 4th green. So even though it looks link style, you can't run the ball up here. That's actually bent grass in front of the green.
How about this drive, Bobby?
Much softer than the fescue that's out in the fairway. And Mickelson's finally got one on the screws here, Billy.
Just 122.
Wow. That's well over 350 yards off the tee.
If it's the right distance.
Here it comes. No.
We'll have another look here at number 4 after a birdie start. We've already seen KJ Choi today start with 5 birdies. Darren Clark, the leader, with 4.
Mickelson with a driver off the tee on number 1, and this little punch 8-iron out of the bunker, I believe it was. Beautiful shot.
So to start the day with a 3. And he moved on to the par 5 second.
In trouble again off the tee. Had to lay up. His 3rd to this point. This for birdie.
No doubt. And we move to the 3rd, looking for the hat trick. 176-yard par 3. Oh, is he dialed in, boys and girls? 3 birdies to start the day, and a look at a 4th at number 4. Back to 15.
And here is Patrick Sheehan at the 15th.
Up and over and through, and then back up and over again, and well, pretty nicely done from that range. 15 again, 518 yards of par 4. Back to Mickelson.
And Phil will be looking at a birdie opportunity here, as we talked about his hot start. Meantime, Todd Hamilton, Brian Bateman, just short of this 4th green. The whole nickname Glory. Basically, the story when you start this round is don't go left. You start this out in Lake Michigan, it's staring you right there.
I think there's about 850 bunkers left of the fairways.
Not a whole lot of fun if you go right either.
No, that's a good point, David.
Oh, we've seen this club a lot at Royal Troon.
Yes, we have. In fact, the final hole in the playoff. Brilliantly executed. This not quite as effective.
He'll have that for par. Todd Hamilton, the Open champion at Royal Troon, again from above. And you see some of the 1,000 bunkers, 1,000 plus. Nobody's really gotten an accurate count. It's 1,000 plus. Some are just the size of, I mean, a pizza.
You know, what's amazing, though, the fact that, you know, golf enthusiasts are, I mean, you can't, what do you mean you can't count the number of bunkers on a golf course?
I tried the other day. There's Bateman, and that'll be for his par.
Well,
but really, there are some that are just minuscule. Others, as you can take a look from above. You see, and there is the problem in counting these. And a lot of times you'll see just a little bit of grass that separates one of these into 2 or 3.
I'll tell you who could count them. You ask some of the guys that rake them. They know how many there are.
To 5.
And Paul Azinger, 3rd shot.
Punch with a strong grip. Familiar throughout the years. Great player in the wind, and a beautiful little 3rd shot there. Textbook stuff. Back to the 4th.
What's in this putt for Phil?
Well, it's just going to move just a little bit to his right at the start, and kind of straighten out when it gets to the hole. Actually, the longest putt he's had in the first 4 holes.
There's a lot of conviction in this stroke right now, Billy.
And the birdie streak ends for Mickelson. So a trio of short par putts to come at number 4.
Mickelson not pleased with that execution, so what he does, he goes right back to his routine and his practice and trying to groove that stroke.
Interesting, Billy had talked about the 9.5 hours that he spent out here, and Phil had talked about that the other day in a press conference. You know, that he wasn't holding anybody up, and that's why he came out at that juncture. You can't do that in a practice round, and but he has studied every inch of this place.
Yeah, he came out with his coaches and Todd Hamilton. Suffer a bogey here at the 4th. what he and Dave Pelz and Rick Smith tried to do is they tried to determine if you miss the ball on a certain side of the fairway, what are your odds of scoring from here? If you miss the ball on a certain side of the green, what is your chance of getting it up and down? How about to this whole location? And it really was a very in-depth study of the golf course, which I believe this golf course requires, because as you play 72 holes here, you're going to see every hole playing differently throughout the week.
And actually, Bobby, warming up, he spent more time in the short game area than he did actually warming up with the full shots.
Sheehan, by the way, tapped in at 15, and now for par, here is Mickelson. 3 under through 4. So our coverage here on TNT well underway. 6 hours worth today and on Friday, where they're chasing Darren Clarke at Whistling Straits.
Eleven Australians taking part in this 86th PGA Championship. Greg Norman withdrew with a bad back. Rod Pampling is 1 under after 8, playing the back 9 first. Adam Scott 1 under with a 71. He's in the clubhouse. Craig Parry 1 under along with Robert Allenby, Stuart Appleby and Jeff Ogilvy in the early stages of their rounds. As we go back to Whistling Straits on the shores of Lake Michigan, where Darren Clarke is the leader from Ernie Els, who posted a 66. Also with a 66, Justin Leonard, Vijay Singh, Scott Verplank with 67s, and with 68s, Padraig Harrington, Jay Haas and Chris DeMarco. If you're a Tiger Woods watcher, he's had a 75 as we go back to Paul Azinger for birdie.
Paul, the 1993 PGA champion. Won that in Toledo. Darren Clarke leads by 1 over Ernie Els and Justin Leonard. He is at 7 under par.
Coast Guard at work at Lake Michigan. And we are in Kohler, early outside Kohler, Wisconsin for the PGA Championship. Let's take a look at computing the numbers, brought to you by IBM. Longest courses in major championship history now on the card, 75-14 for Whistling Straits, but today they're playing it at 73-69. So Columbine in 1967 remains on top.
Yeah, but that's up in Colorado. That's high altitude. That doesn't count.
Oh, okay, so put an asterisk next to that. Thanks, Bobby. Yes, we have, well, you know, we do have wildlife here. They've moved the black-faced sheep, which routinely are seen here, but for the championship they've moved them. But birds are still taking flight here on the shores of Lake Michigan.
I missed the sheep.
And we go to 9.
And on the 9th, here is Luke Donald for birdie.
Young Englishman.
And Donald goes to 3 under, joining a large growing congregation of that number, 4 off the pace.
Wow, I mean, I can't believe this scoring. The 5th here. Mickelson, his 2nd shot.
Actually, David, pretty lucky with that tee shot that he hit. Kind of popped up a 4-wood.
And this one of the areas of the golf course where you really have to know where you're hitting it. That's a blind 2nd shot over the edge here. And he's put that in a good spot. Right across there is kind of serpentine and sort of a double dog leg.
Phil, who birdied the first 3 holes, and we go to 16.
And Briney Baird at the par 5. An eagle look.
Come on, come on.
Just a little kick-in birdie.
He's a good ball striker, is Briney. Good start. 3 under through only 7 holes.
Product of Valdosta State. Back to 5.
And there's an overhead look at this serpentine par 5.
The water down the right, and then turn the corner. The water is on the left. They've created some little wetlands here. Migratory waterfowl coming through and having a little rest, taking off for here to head south for the winter.
You talk about guys who've got a lot on their mind this week. Fred Funk, who has made not gone quietly about his desire to be a part of the Ryder Cup team. He really wants to earn a spot.
He liked the putt. He just overread it a little.
And once again, with the help of our ING virtual caddy, let's take a tour of number 5, Bobby.
Well, it is a snake. It can come up and bite you at any time. This par 5, dogleg to the right, almost like a serpentine. Most of the players 3 woods, 4 woods off the tee to a narrowing fairway. They don't want to hit it up there in the 310 mark. Just not enough fairway to work with. So few players are able to go at this green in 2. Most will lay it up, play a wedge 3rd.
And playing today at 598 yards. Here's Todd Hamilton.
Also laying up.
Only player to hit driver off this tee, David.
Well, Billy, you know, part of the problem with this hole is even if it is hard downwind and you can get there, if you fly it over the second water and get it to the green, it's difficult to stop it in time from keeping it going over the back into the swale, into the trees. And there's water over the back, too.
Must be hard.
Yeah, really. Not an easy shot on it. Hardly an easy shot on the entire golf course as it is, but you wouldn't think it to look at the scoring today. It's been set up relatively easy. Darren Clark leading by a shot, 7 under par.
Welcome back to our coverage of the PGA Championships. Just to let you know that you can win $1,000 this morning in our Nissan X-Trail Extreme Sporting Chance competition. All you have to do is correctly pick what you think will be the lowest ranked score for this first day of the US PGA and SMS text your answer to this number, 188 9926. Will it be Darren Clark's 65 or will Phil Mickelson come over the top of him and post an even lower number? That's what you have to figure out. The lines close at 8:45 a.m. so there's plenty of time for you to chip in the answer. So $1,000 up for grab each day here at the US PGA. And just a reminder, you have to be under 18 to enter that competition as we go back to Whistling Straits.
Billy?
Hamilton with 100 yards. I mean, just should be perfect. I mean, he's right into the breeze. Take it in just a little bit low. Can work it actually off the slope to the right of the flag.
Get away from
Too
here.
much yank on that.
Yeah.
Jeez. I tell you, that half the ball looked like it was over the hole, and it just ripped back violently. Man, that's fun to watch. One bounce, and it starts to skid right about here, and that, oh, that's unbelievable.
And Mickelson.
Well, he took it in a little bit lower and pitched forward off the slope.
Okay, well, they've got some stuff on this one.
Well, he had a great angle, David. I mean, he could do just about anything he wanted to.
Well, so good chances there at the 5th.
That's some magic from Phil Mickelson there. Excuse me, Vern. Darren Clark leading by 1 over Ernie Els, Justin Leonard, Vijay Singh, and Scott Verplank. Just 2 strokes back.
Let's go to the 13th hole, and here is
Hello, Jesper.
a fellow Swede.
Yeah. One of the great characters now here. This is how he coped with this. 1 foot up on the rock, you can see just outside the lateral water hazard. That is Lake Michigan. Jump back. Well, he had to have a swipe at it, I suppose. Maybe got it a little thin now live. You can see him just molding himself to the slope there. Oh, Flopodopoulos. So,
I'll tell you what, that'll send you back to Stockholm.
yeah, really. I mean, that doesn't look like a basket of fruit either. This is the 16th and Tommy Armour.
Now the par 5, 16th. And this for Eagle. And so a little tap-in birdie for Tommy Armour the third. Whereas Tommy Armour, the last European to win the PGA Championship.
Yeah, but you stole him from us shortly after.
Let's see what's up with Jesper, guys.
Well,
oh, that's a great effort.
yes, it is.
Again, very sensibly, you know, the PGA of America, they're playing the stones and bunkers rule here. And, you know, even though these bunkers have been sieved, the golf course only 6 years old, there are some fairly sizable rocks still there. And it's great to see a local rule like that in play. That's for double bogey for Parnevik. Means, of course, you can move a stone away from your ball, or it can be quite dangerous. So double there, nasty. This is 16.
And Patrick Sheehan got off to that hot start. And that'll be left for his par. Birdied the first 3 starting at number 10.
Second easiest hole on the course today is the 16th.
To 5.
And Todd Hamilton.
Well, he almost had it on the hole a minute ago. Oh boy, that wasn't as close. So he probably doesn't know how close he came there. Jamming his third shot in there for Eagle. Has to settle for a par, 1 over par after 5 for the Open champion.
Masters champion is next.
Yeah, I don't like playing it right edge because I think it moves right outside and then stays out. I like playing it almost right up the sky. What do you like?
Okay.
Maybe a little confused right now.
Well, Phil says he doesn't like playing it as far out as right edge because he thinks it's going to move a little right and then come back. Phil liked inside right, I think, from that conversation.
Well, a little bit different angle, but pretty much the same
His ball
direction.
isn't over there. Phil will toss in a new routine on you every now and then just to keep you paying attention.
Yeah.
Oh, he's aiming that way outside the right. Or his left, rather. Wow. That looked as if he was aiming that 6 inches outside the left and kind of pulled it back over toward the right edge.
Whistling Straits outside Kohler, Wisconsin, an hour north of Milwaukee, site of the 86th PGA Championship, and the name at the top of that leaderboard, Darren Clark. 7 under par, 65. Some of the highlights from early first-round play. Tiger in trouble.
Low lights here at the par 5 11th. Tiger, who birdied the first hole, the 10th, unable to escape the deep fescue rough of the par 5 11th.
In a field of 156, Tiger currently tied for 121st.
And had a double bogey 7. His only double of the round, fortunately.
He had said beforehand, every hole out here you could double bogey if the wind is blowing. He's 10 back. Justin Leonard, he watched KJ Choi and Darren Clark go birdie crazy on the front side, and then he said he just kind of got swept up in it, and on the back he shot a 31, a 66 in round 1. He's just 1 back. Ernie Els, no surprise, right there, Bobby.
He was dialed in on the par 3s today, birding 3 of the 4 par 3s at Whistling Straits.
7 birdies and 1 bogey on the day. How good is that? So Ernie's just 1 back. Another one of those favorites here, Vijay Singh.
Leading the tour in greens hit in regulation. Everybody knows about his long game, but the putter is starting to come to life as well.
67 has him just 2 behind the leader, who is Darren Clarke, playing in his 7th PGA championship. Tie for 9th is his best. He missed the cut in 5 others, but look at that. Darren Clarke with a 65, 7 under par. Now Phil Mickelson, seeing what those guys had done before he teed off after 1 o'clock today. Starts out birdie, birdie, birdie.
How about this bunker shot on the first hole?
So with that kind of a start, he gets out of the gate at 3 under par as they chase Darren Clarke. A 65. Els Leonard at 66. And others in hot pursuit. We'll be back.
Whistling Straits on the banks of Lake Michigan. The 86th PGA Championship first round action. Darren Clarke with a 1-shot lead over Ernie Els and Justin Leonard. And I am sitting in front of a fireplace, and for the better part of this week of the PGA Championship, it has been the place to be. It has been chilly. The weather has not gotten out of the 60s. It's been breezy as they expected. And the scores, however, have not reflected that at all. A lot of low scores out there to be had. And the players are taking advantage of it. Phil Mickelson among them. Out to the 6th hole now. He is 3 under par, looking to make it 4.
As he plays at number 6 now, and talk about Jim talking about players under par. 45 players under par right now in this field of 156. Mickelson with a start of 3 birdies in a row to 7. There's Paul Azinger.
We saw Azinger's tee shot hit the left-hand bank, shoot all the way across the green. He ends up with a 3-putt bogey. Can't believe it after that bounce from rough onto the green. Doesn't take advantage. Back to number 6.
It's par 4, playing 355 yards.
On the card, it's the shortest par 4 at Whistling Straits, but today with the northeasterly winds blowing, it's more back into the wind. In fact, it's actually playing over par today, Ernie.
Just a shade over. Billy?
If you don't get it far enough down the fairway where they have the hole location, you can just barely see the top of the flagstick.
There's Brian Bateman for birdie.
Boy, this would be a nice par here, Bobby. Remember, he hit it way left. He hit it into the bunker where the people had been walking.
Oh, right.
Just had to pitch it down to the fairway.
Right. He appears to have his flat stick rolling very well today, Billy.
Well, the pace of his putts have been, very good. I was talking to his caddy, and his shortcoming is the putter because he doesn't get a lot of putts to the hole, but certainly not the case today.
All right, how about this par attempt for Mickelson?
Well, this putt's definitely going to move to his right. I mean, this would certainly be the putt that he would want to have moving in this direction. Oh, he thought he had it.
Yeah, well struck, well executed.
In fact, he gave it a little bit of a stutter step and thought he had it.
That takes a little wind out of your sails, so Mickelson will drop back to 2 under.
Look at Todd Hamilton finishing up at the 6th. And so the Open champion from Troon, 1 over. And look at Phil Mickelson's par putt here at number 6.
Well, he's trying to play it a little more in a ball outside the left edge, looking for it to break right. Can't fault the execution, can't fault anything. It just didn't go in.
So a bogey for Phil Mickelson at 6 drops him 5 behind the lead, which is held by Darren Clarke, and our coverage continues on TNT in just a minute.
inspirational highs, devastating lows. In 2004, Essendon have seen it all, but their whole season may hinge on Nine's Friday night football. After a famous victory, the Magpies are out to put the Bombers on the September scrappy. Traditional rivals in a blockbuster with explosive consequences. Essendon, Collingwood, a final before the finals, 8:30 tonight.
Kerry Ellis Golf Gigantic Shoe Clearance. Save up to 60% on major brand golf shoes. Brands like Nike, Adidas, FootJoy, Niblick, Dexter, Etonic and lots more. Up to 60% off. Gigantic Shoe Clearance on now at Kerry Ellis Discount Golf Warehouses.
At Radio Rentals, you can pick up what you want and pay no interest until 2008. That's a huge 4 years interest-free on widescreen plasma and LCD TVs. Jump in for a massive 4 years interest-free on lounges. Land a brand new bed and pay no interest until 2008 and get 4 years interest-free on computers. Time's running out to get a record-breaking 4 years interest-free at SA's biggest electrical retailer. Now that's big.
Green, action, bless you. Oh, hello, doggy.
Strepsils, fast-acting medicine. Helps get a sore throat back into shape.
Sue, as a nutrition expert, what's a healthy kid's cereal?
Well, you can't beat a whole grain cereal like Wheat Bix every day. But if your kids are into the sweeter energy cereals, then I recommend something like the new Wheat Bix Crunch.
So it's crunchy, bite-sized Bix with honey in them?
Well, it's from Sanitarium Wheat Bix, so it's not over-processed, but it's packed with whole grains and B vitamins, and it has less sugar than most high-energy cereals. It's a great solution for kids, mums, and nutritionists.
For us to achieve our goals out there, Beggs, we couldn't do it without the support of our partners.
The big fella does a bit of dirty dancing and lines them up and he's put it through.
Near the boundary line, John Cock pursuing him. Graham John Cock, super work. Adelaide marching, caught, hangs onto the footy, stolen by Magna, finds an opening, goes for home.
And kicks it. Oh, they're hot at the moment, Adelaide.
There's more to our team, Benny, than just the guys on the ground.
Back at the fifth hole with Jose Maria Olazabal, who has shown some form the last couple of weeks, has had a very poor season overall.
This par 5 just kind of wanders around. Oh, how about that? That putt wandered in the left-hand side of that hole.
The Olazabal of old, always a superb putter, 3 under par for the two-time Masters champion. And earlier, at the 11th, Englishman Luke Donald, his third shot. One in Scandinavia a couple of weeks ago. Trying to force his way onto the Ryder Cup team. Now alive with Donald. So a beautiful approach and taps it in for a birdie at that long par 5 with the tees moved up a little bit, anticipating the strong northwest winds and extraordinary scoring in this first round. Luke Donald, the leader of the afternoon group, through just 11 holes. 65 early on today from Darren Clark, back to number 7. And Gary, the tees are way forwards today. They really must have had a heavy wind forecast.
Peter, they had such a problem, I think, Kerry Haig and all the guys at the PGA of America, trying to figure out how to set this golf course up, because you don't want to hit these guys upside the head the first round. So I think they're going to go at it real easy. And then as the tournament goes, they will get a kind of flow of what they want to do with the golf course and the weather. See how that reacts. And you wonder if they get a gentle forecast. Look at the roll helping Hamilton. If they get a gentle forecast tomorrow, will they then go ultra tough to try and make up for today? It's supposed to get very nice by the weekend, and I think this golf course will get longer and longer and longer. The deal was the last couple of days we've had some rain, really softened up the greens and made it very easy for these guys now to throw it right at the hole. And with the golf course playing shorter, they're seeing the guys going off early and shooting low, and they're going to go with them.
Now we look down on Mickelson. Spectators.
And after watching Hamilton hit 5-iron, Mickelson with 4.
He's going to play a little cutie shot in here. Watch him kind of hang on to this.
Good looking shot, trying to work back to the hole.
And a good chance for a birdie for Phil Mickelson. And Gary, I know you played the course a couple of weeks ago during the US Bank Championship. Did you expect any scoring remotely like this?
No, we played it with we played for 3 days. We put a nice, easy wind, 10 to 15 miles an hour. And it was coming into us on 15, 16, 17, and 18, which was really difficult. And the golf course, I thought at that time, probably even par could win it.
That's what I thought yesterday. I was taken in by cold, windy conditions. We'll go to the 12th.
Par 3 playing 133. And Luke Donald is working his way to the first page of the leaderboard, Bobby.
He is an important week for Luke. Peter Osterhaus touched on his win in Scandinavian Open a few weeks back and his rise potentially onto the Ryder Cup team for the European squad. Went to Northwestern University. So he's won now both in the States and in Europe. Of course, the Ryder Cup team will be selected from the European side in 2 more weeks.
We've seen some guys today get on hot streaks, and Luke is riding one of those right now. 4 consecutive birdies. Started the day with 3.
And this is a whole location that you can attack here.
Yeah.
Just a little 8-iron for Luke.
And he'll have another look right there. Look at this scorecard. Start out birdie, birdie, birdie. And then you end the front 9 with a couple and start the back 9 with a couple. That's good shooting here at Whistling Straits, where Darren Clark has set the standard and the others are in pursuit.
Welcome back. Stuart Appleby, the best of the Australians, along with Jeff Ogilvy on this first day of the 86th PGA Championship, but early days yet for both of them. Adam Scott in the clubhouse with a 71. Robert Allenby 1 under through 9. Brendan Jones even after a 72. Craig Parry even through 10. 11 Australians competing all up. Greg Norman out with a back injury. Nick Ahern 1 over with a 73. Rod Pampling 1 over through 10. He began on the back 9. Mark Hensby 1 over, and Stephen Leaney now 2 over, finished with a 74. We're going to go back now to Phil Mickelson, one of the hot starters on this first day of the PGA.
You've got to remember, this whole golf course is just a puzzle to these guys, and they have not even got close to figuring it out yet. Although Darren Clark did a pretty good job with that.
Well, if anybody can figure it out, Phil Mickelson here last week alongside Dave Pells and Rick Smith trying to analyze options. Over to 9. Stuart Appleby, the Australian.
Actually, it's not a bad deal to have in the rough here on this last hole where you can climb it up that hill to that back location, because most of the guys would be pulling the bat chute on this, not letting it get past the hole, which he did there, because just over the green is just the land of Nah.
Over to 18.
Patrick Sheehan at the 18th.
We haven't seen players in this position off the tee in the practice rounds at all this week. Hole shortened today. Oh!
Wow, did he scare it? He's 3 under. Started his day on the 10th and very much in this hunt. Back to 7.
And with Bateman after the pitch that Bill Kratz had talked about for a par. So bogey for him. And back to even par. Bateman, last-minute replacement for Goosen. Well, maybe not last minute, because Goosen obviously out last week as well. Didn't play in the International, where he usually performs well. Stay here with the Open champion. Chance for a 2.
And Billy Kratzer, I'm sitting here. I watched Todd for the last couple of weeks after he won, and I look at his game, and boy, it is solid. The golf swing's good. His temperament's great. Putting stroke's good. What took him so long?
I have no idea, Gary. I mean, played over in Japan, won numerous times over there, double figures over there. And, you know, watching him win at Honda, I mean, I thought he did that pretty convincingly. And, you know, some are late bloomers. Tom Lehman was a late bloomer.
Yeah, Tom Lehman lost his car, didn't he? Was on every tour he could play for a while, and then came back and was a major championship winner. Hamilton, 8th time at the qualifying tournament, got through last December outside Orlando, now to 12.
And Luke Donald looking for his 5th consecutive birdie. He'll have that for his par. Started the day with 3 birdies and 4 straight, taking him up to this point, back to 9.
And Stuart Appleby hit a wedge from just over 140 yards into this back hole placement. Chance for a birdie. He's already 2 under. He had a great start to the season, Gary. He seems to have cooled off a bit the last few months.
Yeah, he was the best player coming into California swing, coming out of the California swing. It was a little beautiful there. That thing just hooked at the end.
Just short irons into this green. It was a tough par 4 straight into the wind during practice rounds. So the players having to adjust. Those that played last week in different wind conditions, extra practice rounds, maybe that work paying off.
Welcome back to TNT's coverage of the PGA Championship, live from Whistling Straits in Wisconsin. Darren Clark with a 65, leading by 1 to the tee at 13.
With Luke Donald, 404 yard, dogleg left to right, close to the lake.
He's got a nice tidy swing, doesn't he?
He does.
Very, very efficient, although it's kind of mired over there in that fescue, but he'll have a good look. This green's setting down below the players, hanging on the cliff over there.
Definitely better to miss left than right at number 13 off the tee. Let's go to 18.
And Patrick Sheehan for his birdie. That would have been for a 32 on that side.
Good solid 9, 3 birdies, no bogeys.
Started out with 3 birdies, followed by 6 pars. He makes the turn. Meantime, on the tee at 8, Phil Mickelson.
Going with the fairway medal. Bobby, he's done that 2 or 3 times. Just kind of punch it with that fairway medal.
That's a new shot that he's been adopting. He really used that a lot at Royal Troon, Billy, as you recall. And
I love it.
Yeah, it's that piercing stinger shot with the fairway wood.
Now, on the 10th, Rich Beam taking aim at birdie. Wow, Beamer with a 40 on the front.
Yeah, every time Rich seems to be getting his confidence going, all of a sudden something hits him hard and goes the wrong direction.
Well, he tripled the second.
He feels now, though he's been in what most would call a pretty good slump, he feels that he's a better player now. He has a better understanding of the game.
Back to 9.
And a lot of spectators, Gary, I expect to find a nice spot in the stands around 9 and 18 and just watch drama there all day. Beautiful spot.
This is a nice little finishing hole, and you can get it where it's a 3-wood off the tee and then a 9-iron to the green, or you can hit a driver and a 3-iron to it, depending on which way the wind goes. Today, it's absolutely set down. It is spectacular out here.
Not a great start for the defending champion McKeel. 3 over par through 8. Just bogeyed the 7th and 8th holes.
Well, you get like this, you start telling yourself you got to get a little aggressive, but this golf course a lot of times will not allow you to get aggressive. It'll just throw doubles and triples at you. So cautious aggression, I think, is what we need here. That little shot, nothing going on there. A little wind right to left, pick the right club. Good look at a birdie. Get going on the back.
Over to 16.
And David Duval with a lengthy eagle look. String of pars for Duval, who began play at the 10th.
I'm just waiting for somebody to step up and eagle a par 5. It hadn't happened yet.
And that remaining for David Duval's birdie. As he plays his 7th hole, it'll get him into red numbers. The lead held by Darren Clark at 7 under par. If you're just joining us here on TNT. Back at the 10th, here's Davis Love III.
Coming off the slope of the bunker. It'll be a par for Davis.
38 on the front, and begins the back with a par 4. Back in the fairway at 8.
Just a horrible lie in the rough, EJ. 196 yards, and I think he would do well to get this within 30, 35 yards of the green. I mean, it is really sitting down. Oh, but it came out nicely. Oh, what a golf shot.
Well executed, but again, it's soft in front of the greens, not able to get the roll.
You get an idea from watching that shot of the way that is framed by Lake Michigan and just drops off the end of the earth there at the back of the 8th green.
Every shot is so picturesque. When you talk about the different elevations, so much elevation change in every single shot you play.
Well, this is one of those holes where they are playing a forward tee. It had been playing 507. It's playing 468 today. Brian Bateman.
Ball below his feet, very tough, especially with all the trouble to the right. Tough to get a lot of club on it.
And that comes up just a bit short. I think that's one of those examples too, Bobby, where players have talked about this having the appearance of a links course, but not all the characteristics of it, and being able to run a ball up.
Well, you know, I'd like to ask that very question to Pete Dye sometime. You know, is this the way he
tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah, we could do that.
We will. We're scheduled to do that tomorrow. Duval made his birdie putt at 16.
Hamilton from 182 yards, cutting it back up in the wind.
Solid strike there, right in the heart of the green.
Back to 13.
And Luke Donald from the left rough, 143 yards.
And you can see the holes cut back in that back portion of the green from where Luke is. It's just on the side of our TV camera position back there. And there it is right there. So Luke's going to try to take it on the right side of that. Hope he can control the flyer.
We saw Panovich get into trouble on this hole. And surprisingly, coming out of the rough, although the wind against, that ball stopping quickly for the young Englishman. Very steady player, relies on just keeping calm, finding fairways, and a pretty good short game.
Welcome back, and just a reminder that you can win $1,000 this morning just for sitting and watching the golf in the Nissan X-Trail Extreme Sporting Chance competition. All you have to do is correctly pick what you think will be the lowest score of this day one of the PGA and SMS text your answer to this number, 188 9926. That's 188 9926. Got a couple of more hours to enter. Closes at 8:45. You have to be over 18 to enter this one, though. Just a reminder, and that putt belongs to Phil Mickelson on the 8th hole as we return you to our live coverage.
His pace has been quite well.
Solid par 4 for Mickelson at the 8th.
After a sizzling start for Phil. Birdies at the first 3. 1 bogey to go with it. Sean McKeel.
He's not getting anything going on the greens today at all. He loves the course. It's really a different course than when we played in the media day back in June.
He makes the turn at 3 over now. The British Open champion Todd Hamilton. And how much did he need that?
A birdie on the second most difficult hole of the day.
It's him back to even par. Stuart Appleby at the 10th.
Part of his game that's improved so much over a year ago is his putting. Had a great fall, a great start to the year.
To 13.
And Luke Donald for the 8th birdie of the round. 7 birdies, 2 bogeys so far. He'll stay 5 under.
I tell you what, coming into this tournament, you'd have thought if you could make 8 birdies and survive the cut and make 8 birdies for 72 holes, that would have been pretty good. I would have thought.
Wouldn't have been bad. Keep your bogeys to a minimum. You could have a good finish in a championship. Back to the 7th, and Olafable is now 4 under par, hitting a 3-iron to the left-hand hole placement.
See what kind of bank he's going to hit off there. Oh yeah, this just trickles down.
An excellent chance for a birdie.
I guarantee you, if Pete Dye's watching this, out of the 1,100 bunkers, wherever he's got it, he's going to put one right there for next year, so none of that happens.
To the 8th.
And Bateman. Well done. To save his par there at the 8th. Well, you talk about getting 8 birdies. You know what? Darren Clark had 8 in his first 11 holes en route to a 65. He's 7 under, and he's the PGA leader.
At the 9th tee with Mickelson now. And the player's very aggressive off the tee.
That looked like probably a 3 medal there. They've got a perfect position.
Much more comfortable off the tee today with the wind not dead against as it was in yesterday's practice round. Now back to the par 3 7th. And Olafable for a birdie. Birdie the 2nd, 3rd, 5th and 6th.
And he has really got a good look at this one. Got the hill to your right, lake to your left. So let's see. The slope will be right to left. So Usti, I'm playing this on the right edge of the hole. I'm hitting it hard to hold the line. Okay?
Okay.
I like to take the general topography in general terms and then look at the little nuances to figure it out. See if I got it right.
Surprisingly tentative, and he can't believe it. Chance gone.
Can't think of everything, can you? Had the line perfect.
He played poorly early on in the year. 30th at the Masters was his best finish. He went back to Europe, played poorly. At the 11th, Davis Love at the par 5, 3rd shot.
And he drags that back about pin high. This wind blowing right to left. If Davis can't get there, got that big old bunker down there. And it is deep down there, so you kind of Angle it to the right.
To the 14th.
373-yard par 4, and Luke Donald.
And this is the way the smart players are playing the 14th, but we understand that there have been a couple players that have attempted to drive this green.
Luke just 2 back at 5 under par is Darren Clark, putting that 65 up. One of the early risers today, and well, he and Justin Leonard and KJ Choi, what a threesome that turned out to be. They're just shooting lights out. 17 under combined, those three.
That's unbelievable.
And there is Luke Donald. Had a couple of birdie streaks going on today. The first 3 holes, and then 4 straight, 8 through 11. Now, you've seen this. There have been a lot of unintentional sliding around. It's you got to be careful here, folks. And I think the kid at the top is right now saying this seemed like a good idea moments ago. Meantime, Nick Faldo at 8.
As for birdie for Faldo.
And a birdie and a bogey on his front side. And this to get back into red numbers.
Good stroke.
One of 27 major champions in the field now. There had been 36, but withdrawals have taken their toll. The latest to withdraw, Greg Norman, earlier today withdrew, and Joe Durant took his place, 11th hour.
Joe's a good ball striker.
We're at the 11th green now with 3 former champions, Toms, Love and Beam. Rich Beam for an eagle.
Well, Rich obviously got that ball down in that fairway. There's a big bunker on the right-hand side. And
first of all, we go to 17, David Duval.
Now, Uzi, I was watching David hit balls yesterday, and he's made a huge swing change. He used to have a very strong grip with the golf club at the top of his swing upside down, meaning pointing to the sky. He has now got a neutral grip, and his swing really looks good.
He's 1 under par, Duval. At the 9th, Hamilton.
Just trying to chase it up there from 179.
No chase on that bent in front of the green.
Just can't do it, Gary.
He was a long way back. Was that less than a driver off the tee, Bill?
Yeah, well, that was the club that he uses as his 3 or 4 wood. That's 0 iron.
Now Mickelson.
168 down the hill, breeze behind him. Just a solid 9 iron, taking it straight up in the air. Just left of the flag.
Well, the danger is off to the right of the green, and that's...
Whoa, that thing can go. If that was a little firmer, that goes all the way down into some gnarly grass down there, and that'd be a tough up and down.
David Duval at the 17th, trying to stay 1 under.
Solid. Boy, if he could get a good score on this golf course. Because he's hitting the driver nice, looks good, everything's good.
He's 1 under par. Only beat 6 players in the field at the International last week, and of course we know he played poorly at the US Open, first event back for a long time. To 14.
And Luke Donald, after splitting the fairway off the tee.
Good looking swing. Good student of the game is Luke.
And what a result. Almost ready to give him that one, but we'll make him putt it. He can pull within a shot of the lead. His brother on the bag, Christian.
Back at the 11th with Davis Love. This hole shortened 563 yards, over 600 from the very back tee. Anticipating again the strong northwest winds. Some players in those conditions couldn't even reach the fairway. So the PGA of America moving the tees up for this round.
Davis's pre-shot routine and his putter's not the same. He used to take a look, and then as his head was coming back, he'd hit it. Now he stays there a little longer.
So Davis Love just stays with a par, and these impressive scores from this morning. Darren Clark, Ernie Els, Justin Leonard, a 66. Luke Donald threatening those gentlemen. 5 holes to play for Donald, and Jose Maria 4 under through 7. Disappointing par at number 7.
Now, one of the highlights Tuesday of this week, the annual PGA Champions Clinic. Lanny Wadkins hosting with a little help.
Hello, Wisconsin. I'll tell you, there's enough cheeseheads here to start a Packers game. You're great fans, I'll tell you. You don't get a whole lot of golf here. It's like 2 months of golf and then hockey.
Is our current Ryder Cup captain as we head to next month's matches. Ladies and gentlemen, Hal Sutton.
I think the last 3 months have proven to me that I'm better suited for golf than I am this other stuff. I tell you, I don't know if I can be politically correct or any of these other things.
Ladies and gentlemen, PGA champion David Toms.
You got one of those, like, what is that, a utility thingamy thing? It's like an elephant's toenail on a stick.
It is a Cleveland launcher driving iron.
All right, yeah, thank you very much for the plug there.
Please welcome El Paso's original PGA champion, Rich Beam.
Tee her high and let her fly. Down. Just hit it like that. You're all good.
There you go, Rich. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck this week.
Thanks. Thanks for being fans. Thanks for coming out.
Welcome back to TNT's coverage of the PGA Championship. Glory's last shot, about halfway through our 6 hours of coverage here on TNT. Ernie Johnson and Bobby Clampett. So how surprised are you that we see 40 players under par and we see Tiger Woods tied for 116th, Bobby?
Shocked. Absolutely
in a word.
shocked. I absolutely am. I thought Tiger was playing well. Even when you look at his statistics, other than his putting today, he didn't play that poorly. Certainly he didn't play like 10 strokes off the lead. That's a big margin to pick up.
And the players under par, as we said, 40 of them in red numbers right now, included in that lot. Phil Mickelson, the Masters champion, this earlier at the 9th.
For a birdie.
And that would have been a surprise birdie after the less than convincing approach shot, Gary.
Yeah, 9-iron back there. You got some wind coming up behind you, though, and sometimes it'll lay down on you and the ball won't go as far and end up where you are. And these guys are very good around the greens. You give them a decent shot at it, and they will get it up and down.
Over to 14.
Luke Donald for his birdie to take it to 6 under. He's one back.
8th birdie of the round.
And so Luke Donald has been steadily making his way toward the top. Darren Clark at 7 under. Now Ernie Els and Justin Leonard have company in the form of Luke Donald at 6 under. Vijay Singh is right there with a solid 67. Scott Verplank had it to 6. Bogeyed the last, and he's just 2 back to 3.
Paul McGinley, the Irishman who played well last week in the European Tour event. Oh, super shot. Tidy. Even with the wind behind. He's already 3 under, Gary.
Well, he's going to be 4 here in a minute, Peter.
I think so. He's trying to force his way onto the Ryder Cup team. Ronnie Baird in the same group. He's 3 under for 11 holes. Started at the 10th. Target practice.
It's unbelievable to me what this golf course has done since Monday.
Very playable today at the 12th.
Playing 133, Davis Love the 3rd.
But Gary, a big reason that the scores are so low are these hole placements. Look at this at the 12th. That's as easy a hole placement as you can get there.
I think, Bobby, you know, again, we said that their PGA didn't know how to set this golf course up, and they're going to be very conservative at first.
Smart move.
And we have Luke Donald finding the fairway off the tee at the long par 4 15th. Safely up the left-hand side. Across rough to a big green on the 2nd shot.
This golf course is very difficult, Peter, when you are playing against the wind on 15, 16, and 17.
And just to follow up what you guys are talking about on the setup, Vijay Singh saying after his round when asked about the setup overall, he says, I think they kind of went a little too easy. Back to 3.
And we saw the tee shots. Bryony Baird and McGinley. Unusual stance putting for Bryony. Really steady over the ball. Makes it 4 under. Thank you very much.
I'm sure most of the field is going to tell Vijay to shut up. You don't want to be saying that. Okay, we're going to show you then.
To number 8.
Yeah, it was easy for Vijay.
Here at the 8th, Jose Maria Olazabal, who is just 3 back.
A lot of options here for Olazabal. Most players would, I would think, would want to use a putter here.
Started the day with a par, then 4 birdies in the next 6 holes.
He's just taking the first swale right out of that shot, taking all the guesswork out, and he's such a good pitcher and chipper of the ball. Why not? You know, the fringe areas here are all planted in bent grass, and the reason why Pete Dye did that is because of the amount of walking and traffic that you get around the greens areas. He didn't want fescue damage so much.
Back to 3.
And McGinley's putt to move 4 under. No problem. Greens are smooth. And allow another hole with the wind, the long par 4 fourth. Now we go to the 10th tee.
Uphill tee shot. Bunker right there in the middle of the fairway.
And you want to hit about 255 off the tee here.
Boy, and he roasted this one.
And it's back into the wind. And that's perfect position. Missed a little wedge, second remaining for Mickelson. That large bunker there. You just want to play enough off the tee to carry that.
At the 2nd, Patrick Sheehan with a chance to climb within 3. He's got it to 4 under. To 11.
And Stuart Appleby at the 11th, the par 5. Another good putt. We saw him make a good putt at 9. Another one there at 11.
He has really improved his putting. Just stays very, very steady over the ball now.
And Appleby also moves to 4 under. So there are threats to the lead. 7 under par 65 this morning from Darren Clark.
Championship. If you need ticket information, please log on to PGA2005.com. A.W. Tillinghast design, Valtrasol, site of 2 of Jack Nicklaus's 4 U.S. Open titles in '67 and '80. On the tee at the 12th, the par 3, 133. Stuart Appleby waiting for the green to clear. More of a serene setting than we have seen in practice rounds here at number 12.
This green light all the way. Players club of choice today, an 8-iron. Joe Damiano, Stewart's caddy there. They're talking about what it's playing. Wind coming off Lake Michigan, be right to left for the players. And just slightly into.
Coming off that birdie at number 11 is Appleby.
A bit unlucky. That ball hit just a little shorter. It would have come back down off the slope and been pretty close.
On the group that was ahead, it's Davis Love, the 3rd. No coaxing that in.
Davis feeling a little frustrated right now. You know, he feels good about his swing, his game. It's just not happening for him. He made a double bogey back at Bogeys at 6 and double bogey at 8.
Hamilton on 10. Right at 100 yards. Green perched up on top of this hill.
Should spin. Whoa.
He's done that a couple times today, Bobby.
Yeah. Coming uphill, off an uphill lie, and into the wind. The players are going to need to land the ball behind the hole and let it spin back. That's really a pretty easy hole location again today, isn't it, Billy?
I think so, Bobby.
So ought to be right in the wheelhouse, huh?
Yeah,
Bill?
Just a yard closer. Oh, he took this straight up in the air. He took it a lot higher than I thought.
This is what
well left of the flag.
He's been working hard on this all year. His wedges controlling the distance. And again, he's done it beautifully. In fact, he and Bones will often go out before the round and put towels out, increment yardages with the wedges as we go to 15.
And Luke Donald's second shot at this long par 4.
Well balanced, but from the way he came back with that club, it must be hanging right, and it is. Don't get in that fescue. Well, ball perched up there a little bit.
Over 200 yards on his second shot. Plenty of green to work with on the pitch to try and save par. He's already had 2 bogeys. He's still well under par, even with two bogeys.
Welcome back to the PGA. Stuart Appleby, our best placed Australian. He's had 4 lovely birdies. He birdied the 5th, birdied the 7th, birdied the 9th to go out in 33, and he's now had a birdie on 10 to be 4 under and on the leaderboard. Craig Parry is 2 under, Jeff Ogilvy 2 under. There's still, with a fair bit of golf to play, Adam Scott in the clubhouse with a 71, Robert Allenby 1 under through 12, Brendan Jones even with a 72. 11 Australians playing all up. Nick O'Hearn has had a 73. Rod Pampling 1 over after 14. He's played the back 9 first. Stephen Leaney 2 over with a 74. And Mark Hensby and Peter Lonard with a bit of work to do. So that's the Australian situation. This is Phil Mickelson.
Outside the right side of the hole. And started just on the edge. A nice catch by the hole.
So Phil Mickelson at 3 under. He began with 3 birdies, still 3 under. He's had his troubles, but in great form, Phil Mickelson. And this is young Englishman Luke Donald, won the Scandinavian Open a few weeks ago. Turned professional in 2001. He's only 27. Very, very good player. As we go back to our live coverage at Whistling Straits.
Away, David only missed 1 green on the first side. 1 under par, a real solid round, and this is just what he needs to kind of get the confidence back going.
There you get that excellent look from above at the shoreline of Lake Michigan. And
look at the shape of some of these bunkers. I mean, how did Pete Dye ever create this? This is incredible.
And they brought thousands upon thousands upon thousands of truckloads of sand in here. And
how about 170,000?
Yeah, I didn't want to go that far with it, but it is true. It's a staggering figure. It all went into the construction of Whistling Straits. Construction began in '95. Here we are at the 12th. And a birdie opportunity for Stuart Appleby.
Coming down the slope.
Well, you could just see that pick up steam as it went.
Several of the players have told me that the putts downhill are actually faster than they think, while uphill they're slower.
And we have shown you so many aerial shots from Snoopy 2 navigating the skies above Whistling Straits. MetLife blimp capable of reaching a maximum speed of 55 miles an hour and an altitude of 7,000 feet. Look to the skies for the MetLife blimps at future events throughout the year. Say construction began in '95 here at Whistling Straits. It opened in 1998. Now hosting the PGA Championship, back to 9.
Well, Tharbel with his third shot at the par 4 ninth was in the right-hand rough, had to punch out to here.
Usti, I love to watch this guy on these shots. He could be one of the best that's ever lived. Obviously, he's got a pretty good lie because he's standing on some sort of sprinkler, maybe a meter box or something, but he likes to lie, so he's going to go ahead and play this. But watch how he hits this. It's so precise. He's always got the club into the ball and then the turf.
I think when he does take his stance next to the ball, maybe the drain isn't in the way. There's a reason why he's won 2 Masters. Fantastic short game.
Trigger finger where it's getting happy trigger finger. Really, you could see him really peel the dirt there, so you know he got the hands way ahead, got a little steeper into the ball, so he made sure he clipped the ball first. Brilliant. I mean, he hits those just like that every time, 2-3 feet.
Just got the perfect combination of trajectory and spin, bounce it to the back of the green and a little spin and a chance to save par. Over to 12.
And Gary, don't you think that's why he's won 2 Masters, playing around those greens, having to play those kind of shots so often?
Yep, hung around Seve long enough, you're going to learn something.
Here's a guy who hung around Greg Norman, Stuart Appleby.
He remains bogey-free. Only one other bogey-free round today in the clubhouse, Lauren Roberts. 4 under 68. So if you're just joining us here on TNT, we've been on the air for 3 hours and 20 minutes or so of our 6 hours of coverage. And earlier today, Darren Clark put a 65 on the board, birdied 8 of the first 11 holes. But look at Ernie Els, Justin Leonard right there, Vijay Singh in the hunt. As we go through more pages of the leaderboard, Chris DeMarco at 4 under after being so much in contention at the International last week. Look at all of these guys under par, Bobby Clampett.
It's amazing to see, and you're seeing a great variety of long hitters and short hitters. This is exactly what Pete Dye wanted to see, and I think what the PGA wanted to see, because so much was talked about this is a bomber's golf course. It's really not showing up that way.
43 players currently under par in this field of 156. You see Colin Montgomery has played 10 holes and is 1 under par. 25 club professionals are in this field at the PGA, the 86th edition here at Whistling Straits. And we go to the tee at 11.
563 with the tees forward for this first round.
And Phil, he can hook it and hit a hard hook around that corner. It's a big old bunker. Oh, come on. That means
we're looking left.
Oh, ouch. Ooh.
Ooh, and he would have preferred to be in the sand, I believe, Gary.
Yeah, no question. He's going to have to thrash that one out now.
Also joining our crew, of course, here at Whistling Straits is Laird Small, the 2003 PGA of America National Teacher of the Year from Pebble Beach. And you can find some strange lies in these grounds. And here's Laird.
Thank you, Ernie. Well, the players are going to be faced with so many challenges, Mother Nature and the wind, and the golf course design concept that has a lot of quick turns in the fairway bunkers, and also the slopes and lies that the players are going to have to negotiate. I'll give you an example by dropping this ball. You can see how the ball is going to run down here, and now what I have is I have a ball with a hanging lie. So the ball is below my stance, and now my balance has been put in jeopardy. Now we want to execute these shots successfully. Balance is critical, and the balance is going to be between the arch of my foot and my heel. I want to be able to maintain my balance within that area. If I go to my toes, I'm off balance, and now the ball can go anywhere. When the ball is now below my feet, I need to take some rehearsal swings to see where the club is going to bottom out. Well, in this case, the club's going to bottom out back over here a little bit, so I need to make an adjustment to that. So I'm going to play the ball back in my stance a little bit so I can make sure that I get good, solid contact. Now, because the ball is below your feet, the ball will always tend to travel in that direction. So the ball will tend to travel from left to right in this instance, so I have to make an allowance for an aim. When I have a downhill lie like I have here, I have the same situation. I need to make sure that when I make some rehearsal swings, I need to see where the new bottom of the swing is, and that's where I want to play the ball. And this is a tip that can help the golfers at home. So Ernie, let's take a look at this shot here. I'm going to take good balance and swing away. Boy, that came out pretty nice. Ernie, if you and the viewers at home can really maintain your balance on these shots, they're going to be more successful. The players this week are being turned into shot makers, which is what the ultimate goal in this game is. Keep having fun with it.
Well, it's a mighty big if, I might say, if you can maintain balance like that. We'll be talking to Laird at length here momentarily as we go to the 9th.
To see if Ola Thobel can convert that lovely pitch into a par.
Too good a pitch to miss this.
Yes.
Okay, that's the way I look at these.
Would be
in your heart, you know you're going to make it.
It'd be a beautiful shot wasted. No problem. 4 under, out in 32. Bogey free for 9 holes. As I say, just played well recently. Now, look at this 13th tee. It is intimidating. There's a bit more fairway than it appears from the tee.
Doesn't appear there's any fairway from that picture.
There are a good number of holes where it's intimidation by the looks, and practice rounds tell you that there is plenty of fairway. Fire it up the left, and well done for Appleby.
Can you imagine these golf pros looking at this golf course, Peter, and then having the public come out because they can play this golf course? My buddies at home would just be frightened to death.
It's a resort course. We're going to go back to the 7th hole. Tim Petrovic, just short of the green, but a beautifully prepared bent grass approach area.
That's just basically just like greens, just a little furrier.
And that's one of the things the European players, when asked whether this is a links course, they would say, well, on a true British links course, you would have a bounce off that fringe, and you don't get it here. As we go to number 10.
And Charles Howell takes aim at a birdie putt to try to get it to 2 under.
Been a frustrating year for Charles, and this has really been the reason why early in the year it was the irons. Got away from his original set of irons, trying to work those in.
On the tee at the 16th, Luke Donald.
It's the par 5, 569 yards. It's been the second easiest hole on the course today. Opportunity to reach the green in 2.
Tight down the left there.
Meantime, time for another ING virtual caddy look at the 16th here at Whistling Straits. Your tour guide, Bobby Clampett.
Oh, thank you very much, Ernie. Tee shot today helping left to right wind to a narrowing fairway. For most of us, it's about a 30-yard wide fairway, but these guys are hitting it up here in the gap. It narrows to only 21 yards where Luke Donald just hit it, and no problem for Luke to go for the green in 2 today.
Playing the second easiest hole today at Whistling Straits in round 1. And for more virtual caddy presented by ING, you can log on to PGA.com. Back to 11.
And Mickelson.
Okay, Gary.
Jim McKay's telling him, right there. Can you hit it right there?
You got to help. You got to help me out with this one. I mean, this is horrible.
Can he get it past the sand? What do you think?
He's got metal wood out. What's this? A chip 7-wood, Bill?
Well, he's going. Well,
good. There we go. Yeah. Okay, that's better. Okay,
goodness.
Presumably he practiced this last week with Rick Smith and Dave Pells in attendance.
No, maybe he's going to go to the 3.
Well, he's gone in there 2 or 3 times trying to figure out how he can kind of come into the ball and advance it down the bell.
Does he think that small-headed metal wood will slide through the grass? Choke down on it, just chop it out, and that club head will slide through the grass better than an iron blade?
I have no idea.
That certainly has to be the thinking, Peter.
First of all to the 7th, and Petrovic knocks it in nicely for the par. Back to Mickelson.
Oh, he got
a golf shot.
He has put the time in with the help of his coaches. He has a variety of shots we haven't seen before.
That's the shot of the round, guys.
Billy, how bad was that lie? Tell me the truth. How bad?
Gary, I would have been thinking about just going out sideways.
He has a chance for a pitch and a putt. Look again.
And you can see he really cocks his wrist real fast here, gets an angle, and now he's going to lead with his hands and get way down there and make sure he gets some of the golf ball. See how low he stays, kept his spine angle. That's the trick here. Don't stand up. Man, he just clobbered that thing.
It's a chip with a fairway metalwood, and he's worked on that, and it's paid off, and he's made a very aggressive layup. This hole is named Sandbox. They've got this nasty bunker left of the layup area. He's laid up perfectly.
One nasty bunker? There's 1,100 of them down there, Peter.
At least.
You look at these things from the blimp up here, and I start to stare long enough at I start to hallucinate.
It's not surprising that counting them is difficult.
Oh, I saw one of them. It looked like the outline of Nixon.
Todd Hamilton is waiting for the green to clear with the forward tee, and the lack of wind against now. Hamilton will have to wait. Darren Clark shot 65 a long time ago.
Today's Hampton Hotels Golf Magazine Top 100 You Can Play course is the River Course at Black Wolf Run. Right around the corner from Whistling Straits are the two outstanding courses at Black Wolf Run. The River Course is laid out in the meadowlands of the Sheboygan River Valley, with the meandering water hazard featured prominently in architect Pete Dye's design, enhancing not only the beauty of the track, but the challenge as well. There are several Hampton hotels located near Black Wolf Run. Check out HamptonInn.com for more information on where to stay while playing this magnificent course. And pick up the September issue of Golf Magazine for the new list of the top 100 you can play.
And back at the 11th, and Mickelson's gone from the thick rough to trying to set up a birdie chance.
Very sharp uphill lie. This from 94 yards, Peter.
Pin's just on the front.
Well after the flag.
Maybe guarding against coming up short and spinning back off the green. And brilliant second shot from the rough, and that was average. Trying to set up a birdie. Back to 10.
The uphill par 4, and Jose Maria Olazabal.
You can play these beautiful low trajectory wedge shots. Ideal for this shot right here.
Just 3 off the lead as he plays the 10th. And a chance to pull closer, Bobby.
Yeah, that won't satisfy him at all, though. Good opportunity for birdie here, Tim.
At the 16th, Luke Donald.
254 yards. This is a utility iron, 18 degrees, like a 1-iron. Got to hold it against the left or right breeze.
Just a little short and right.
Paul McGinley at the 5th, brushing that in. He bogeyed the 4th following that birdie at the par 3 3rd. And this was earlier. We saw Baird